guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Choices with Chichi and I haven't changed. I'm still Shagozi Madindu. With me is my lovely husband,
Frank Adindu.
And our lovely friends,
The
Daboops, Peter and Plank.
Daboops take over.
Gengel. It's always a pleasure to have you guys with us.
Thank you.
Welcome to week 3. I hope you were blessed by our installments for week 1 and week 2. And don't forget to share if you know anyone who needs this information. Today is week 3 and we'll be talking about roles, responsibilities, friends, in-laws, and decision making. So you agree with that week 3 is very loaded and God is going to help us to do well with time. Let me start by introducing our topic, a little bit about roles and responsibilities. Roles are changing in nature. They're just basically things you can do as a result of your background, training, exposure, etc. Responsibilities, on the other hand, are more permanent. They are your duties, what you are cut out to do. And as Christians, we already have our responsibilities set out in the Bible most times. For roles, on the other hand, people look into their individual families based on their abilities and then set their roles. So it's important to say this ahead of time so that you don't get confused when we start talking about a host of other things. Something else that is worthy of note is that your responsibilities, while they are set by God, your roles shouldn't come from your parental influence or your culture or your customs or your traditions or your background, because that is what happens most times. So I remember people telling me, someone confiding in me and telling me that she never knew or never had a flair for working outside the home. Why? Because her mom was a stay-at-home mom, and to her it was like, oh, all mothers have to be stay-at-home moms. Now, some of those things are as a result of your background, but when you come into your own particular marriage, you and your husband need to settle down. That was something that we learned very early in premarital counseling class. By week 3, you guys need to settle down and decide for yourselves what you really want to do, how you want to achieve it, and then decide who does what and why each person has to do what, Plank, you were saying something just before we came on set.
Okay.
About roles and responsibilities.
Alright. Hello everyone. As Chichi has said, there's a difference between your roles and responsibilities. And for those of us who are in Christian marriages, the Bible is the first and the final authority on those things.
Absolutely.
So the Bible talks about the man being the priest, the provider, and the protector. And I think later Frank will do justice to that. And he talks about a woman in terms of her being a helpmeet. And the irony is that the one controversial thing people talk about is Proverbs 31, where the same woman is seen providing for her house, bringing food, and all those things. And I think that brings in the argument of roles. As she said, especially coming here, some people are of the opinion that when you read the Bible, whatever you go looking for, you will find. So you have people who will tell you that the woman is supposed to cater for this, and therefore I will never budge on this. And I think that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Because your first point of call, or the first thing you should be aiming to do is to minister grace.
Minister grace. Don't
to
ever
your
forget
partner.
that. Minister grace. That should be the underlying principle for all your decisions and interactions.
Exactly. So that's what makes the roles fluid. So now, like, getting practical about it. For instance, my husband and I both work. We're both civil servants. And sometimes we need to travel.
Yep.
So now, being the helpmeet or being the person, the primary homemaker in the house, obviously I take care of my son to a certain extent for certain things. I need to make sure food is ready and all that. But when I travel, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say I've seen this happen a couple of times. When I travel, I don't think it makes sense for my husband to be like, no, you're not going to be able to take this opportunity. Who's going to cook my food?
You have to come back and cook for me.
You have to come back and cook for me. And I've seen instances of ladies where, like, okay, I can't keep a job because if I'm not there to save my husband food, he will not eat.
Oh Lord.
Even in counseling, I've seen, I think someone gave us an example of a man who says, okay, I eat only fresh food.
Wow.
My wife must cook every morning. In fact, she must grind tomato with stone.
In this age and time?
Yes, I don't use the one from blender.
Do you mean real stone or figurative stone?
The one that I have only even seen it in my village, where you sit down and you now do that. And I think the bottom line is that roles at what you discuss among both of you. And I think it's harder in our context because even the materials we use, I noticed that the church's materials that were recorded by the church were a bit more traditional and biblical, like they were a bit more strict in the sense of what to do. But when we use the ones from foreign authors and foreign churches, relaxed. The bottom line was like you need to discuss. For instance, she was talking about people's strength. It was asking you, okay, who should be in charge of decoration? Who should do the home decor? If, for instance, the man is an interior decorator,
why not? If
and you say no, my father never touched decoration.
The woman is the homemaker.
The woman is the homemaker. Let her decorate. And place is looking like the over-decorated monstrosity. And you are angry, but you cannot do anything about it. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So I think that's practical enough to just explain that the roles should be ever changing. Another example from my husband and I is that when we first married, I wasn't working. And when it came to housework, there wasn't much to do per se. So I was very happy to do it. But as time went on, things changed. I had a son, I started working, and at a point I had a very demanding job as well. So we had to come back to the drawing board and redefine those rules. That involved outsourcing some of those things and taking turns and taking shifts. We've never traveled at the same time and left our son. So those are some of the discussions we had, and that is what makes it workable. Workable. So there's no need. See, there are a lot of challenges and some obstacles. So what is not necessary? Don't create problems. Don't make problems for yourself. As much as possible, minister agrees. Don't compare your wife to your mother. Don't compare your husband to your father.
That's another installment.
For every day and pounded yam. So you must do the same thing. It's not fair and it's not right.
Thank you so much. Peter, do you want to just minister something to us?
Well, my wife has touched on most of the areas I was going to talk about.
Okay.
When talking about rules, like Chichi said, it's not something that is fixed. Your role could be defined by your experiences, your personality, different things, interest, and all that. So I don't think it should be defined. There should be a discussion before you get married, or for those that are already married and you're having issues with what we're talking about. You should sit down and discuss, analyze. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Even businesses do SWOT analysis. So you have to analyze who is better in maybe cooking, who is better in handling the finances and all that. My wife manages our finances. I won't say I'm really bad at that, but she's better at finances. I don't want that to stress me. I just let her handle the finances. And then when it comes to maybe domestic, there are some of the stuff at home, maybe relating to the electrician, trying to fix the bulb, those little things. My wife has no clue about such things.
Wow.
So why
shade?
Don't mind that. Yeah, so basically the bottom line is that leverage on each other's strengths
honestly,
for the success of your marriage. And then I think another thing, I'm stepping away from rules. Decision making. Decision making is very key in every marriage. So the husband shouldn't shift back to the wife to make decisions. Actually, they should make decisions together. Yes, when we talk about decisions, serious decisions like how to, I'm trying to look for an example. Maybe school, where children should go, where they should worship. It should be together. I don't think the husband, it won't be fair for the husband to just come and impose a decision on the family. We are going to this, our son is going to that school, or we have to move to this church. It's something that should be agreed upon. There should be
everybody's
input.
Yes,
everyone's input. Everyone should be carried along. Yes, carried along in the decision-making process.
And I think one thing they said about that also is when you can't come to an agreement on what to do, or when you're trying to make a decision and you can't agree on an issue, you should hold off on that issue. And if at the end it can't be resolved, then sometimes the husband may need to override and say, okay, this is the way it should go. But for instance, if you know your spouse is not happy with the decision you're taking, there shouldn't be a time when you just ignore the person and go ahead.
Maybe in a hurry to override. Just so that there'll be decision making. My darling husband, bless us some more. Tell us what you learned.
Pastor Frank.
Tell us what you learned from week 3.
Well, from week 3, they talked about the 3 P's, like Blanchard
Yeah, the
mentioned.
three Ps.
The 3 Ps, the man is first the priest, then he's the provider, and then he's the protector. And one of the things that stood out to me during week 3 class was that as the priest, as the man, I'm supposed to model who God is to my wife and to my children. My wife and children are supposed to understand who God is from the way I live my life, from the way I relate with them. Simple examples: when my child walks up to me and says, "Daddy, I need this," and I say, "I will do it for you," I should keep my word. So that way they know that God will always keep his word. So I told myself when that class was going on, I said, in other words, if my children hate God or don't like church or the things of God or whatever, or are in doubt about who they are in Christ, it's my fault. So it means that a lot depends on me in terms of the spiritual atmosphere in the home. And so for the protector, I'm supposed to protect my wife against herself. I'm supposed to protect her against me. I'm supposed to protect her against her siblings, and then of course her in-laws, my siblings or my our relatives, our parents and all that. So for instance, I shouldn't allow my wife have an altercation with an in-law. It's not good. I should always defend her. And so one of the things we settled between us was that I would allow her take care of her siblings and her parents. So if there were any issues, she would deal with the in-laws, with my in-laws. And then if there were any issues on my own side, I dealt with my siblings. I still deal with my siblings and my mother. So it helps a lot because now there is understanding. And so I don't put her forward. So somebody asks me, "Please, I need your car. We need to travel and all of that." And then I say something like, my wife says no. No, it doesn't make sense. Or my wife will not like it too, or something like that. And it happens a lot. So I don't throw her under the bus. I take the heat. I take the heat before it gets to her. And then of course, as the provider, one of the things, of course, I'm Igbo, and then growing up, even though they said that we shouldn't do things from our background, but I've always known that the man takes care of the woman. Growing up, that's how I've always seen it happen. And so I decided also that it was something that was worth carrying on. And so providing for the family was my responsibility. I know that's not a fair thing to say, or maybe like a general rule, but then it's something that we practice in our home. I practice in my home. And so some of those things. And then for decision making, we've learned how to, like she said, make decisions together. Because sometimes you may think that you are the CEO, you are the top executive, and this thing has to do with money, how to analyze the money market and all of that. Bitcoin is being sold for $1,000 and what have you. But sometimes when you consult with your wife before taking some of those decisions, you find out that you fall into fewer troubles. You find out that there's a headway. There's just something about deciding before together. So for us, that's what we have always done. And then of course we talked about friends having boundaries. We're supposed to have boundaries. You as a guy, you shouldn't have a female best friend. So one of the things we decided was that we're going to pick our friends, together.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We remain blessed.
Yes,
we are truly blessed. Please let me say that the woman is your helpmate, dear man. I'm really speaking to men. Let her help you. Let her help you. During PMC, we were also told that women have instincts. Most times, you share with your wife, and there is just something. It's not. I don't know. I think it's innate. She's just intuition. She's just able to pinpoint when this is a good deal or when this is not. You know how they say men are wired this way and women are wired this way. Let her help you. I know why I'm saying some of these things, because we have a lot of friends who feel like they take solo decisions and then things go sour. And then there's the issue of pride where you don't want to accept that things have gone so wrong, and then you don't want to apologize, and then you just spiral into something else entirely. So let her help you. And then I don't know what I've told you guys, but we actually learned something differently from the class by week 3. So by week 3, we were late. By the way, when you're late for PMC, they lock you out. Like they were not playing with us. They were not joking.
You were late?
Yeah, so we were late
Okay.
that day.
We were never late. Ah, thank God.
Aww.
I wish we could keep it up.
I'm telling you. And he left me and was running into the class. So,
Define left me.
he
What was-
abandoned me.
No, not abandoned. Like we got to the place.
So
together.
we got to the place together in the same car,
Yes.
and he started running from the parking lot. And remember that by week 1 I told you that I didn't understand the plenty scenario about all these things. He was practically running. So in my head I was like, but why? We came together, why are you running? You know how God used to just be on my side, right?
God.
The deacon in charge of the premarital counseling was on the balcony watching, and he's like, why are you coming alone? Is she not coming? Say she's behind, she's coming. He said, no, go back and bring her. And I was just walking like one princess. And he jogged back and he's like, he said we should hurry up. So we got to him and he's like, you don't do that. As a man, you don't do that. Talking about roles and responsibilities, it's your responsibility to protect her. When you left her behind, she would have fallen. A car could have hit her, God forbid, anything could have happened.
The parking lot.
At the parking lot. And shade much. And you just wouldn't be able to account for her. Now for us, that remained a very primary lesson in our relationship. And I don't think it ever happened again. We just made it a point of duty to be coming early. But apart from the basic set out things they had set out to teach us, we learned basic relationship etiquette, marriage etiquette. For instance, this is the right way to sit. This is not exactly the right way to sit, but for the purposes of video. But they taught us that the woman sits on the left hand side of the man, and the man sits on the right hand side of the woman. So the men were taught etiquette. You bring out the chair for your wife, not because she's lesser, just sense. It's just common sense.
She's worried.
I'm telling you. So that was something else. That was a practical lesson we learned. Talking about roles and responsibilities. And then, of course, like you said, picking out our friends. Another thing we did was pick out. They were encouraged to pick out our friends together. So if your spouse indicated any form of displeasure about anybody that was your friend, it was your duty to discontinue that relationship. That was a bit hard. Yeah, that was not easy. Like, gosh, where are you coming from? You're just into my life like 2 minutes ago, and now you want me to defriend this person that has been in my life like 2,000 years ago. And but then over time, you actually understand why that relationship was not meant to go. And talking about ministering grace and friends, in being considerate and in choosing your friends, we also taught not to make your single friends look like they didn't matter anymore. Like, my level has changed later in life. No. We had to minister grace, choose our friends together, and if your spouse said they didn't like, you discontinue immediately. At least you discuss it and understand. If it's something that is manageable, you guys can patch it through. And then, of course, if it's not manageable, you go, because at that point, at the point of your getting together to start a marital journey, you guys are your priorities.
Yes.
I hope you learned 1 or 2 things today.
Yes.
We talked about roles and responsibilities. We talked about in-laws. Do you want to say something about in-laws?
Okay, I think it was very important to talk about in-laws during that class, because a lot of women, especially coming from the Nigerian and African context, already had so many fears concerning in-laws, probably from experience and what we're getting ourselves into. And I think the first principle that was laid down is the fact that you have to understand that before you go into a relationship with someone, they did not just fall from the sky. They came from a family. These people have raised your spouse, they've invested in them, and they have made them the person they are today. And no matter what you may think of them, they have been there before you. So the first principle we're taught is that your mission upon meeting them should be to befriend them. I think they're particular about parents-in-law.
Yeah.
They're saying especially parents-in-law, make them. There's something Pastor always says that you should be the only daughter-in-law that your mother-in-law knows.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
if you are under my tutelage, you should literally snatch her and hold her
And pamper her.
and pamper her.
Don't be too pushy though.
Don't be too pushy. Yes.
Let it
So
be
she
natural.
was saying that it should be you should actively pursue a relationship with your parents-in-law. And I was also talking of siblings and all those things. I know you cannot talk in a Nigerian context about in-laws without talking about boundaries.
Yep.
Which is what Frank alluded to when he was discussing about even relating and settling disputes. And it was settled that the man primarily should always make sure that you're protecting your family. I know here we don't really talk about a nuclear family as much. When you're talking culturally, in most Nigerian cultures, you don't really have the concept of a nuclear family. People will say it's foreign. But as Christians, it's biblical. Your first responsibility is to them. So you must learn to create healthy boundaries and to also enforce them. As he said, a very good approach is that everyone should enforce boundaries with their side of the family and all that. Because sometimes you need to step in. For instance, there have been occasions or there have been issues where a man may have to speak to his in-laws because she may come from a family that is abusive, they may be abusive or manipulative. And because she's grown up with them, she may not recognize that that is what is going on. So the husband may need to intervene sometimes and say, okay, this is what it is. As he said, as much as possible, especially as Christians, it shouldn't be heard that you're having confrontations with your in-laws, you're having altercations as much as you can avoid it. And some people will be like, you don't know my in-laws, so you've never met them. All this one you're saying is because, and personally, if I'm going to be very honest, I was very, very blessed in that area. In fact, as a single lady, there's anything I prayed about more than anything. I told God, please spare me.
Your mother-in-law.
Spare me. The hustle and bustle that comes with in-laws, because I used to tell someone, I said, so most people say what matters most is our happiness. I told them, I was like, clearly you've never been married in Nigeria because your in-laws can break
Or make your marriage.
or make your marriage.
I know.
And all that. So you should also learn to be the light to them. And I think it was very helpful because going into it, of course, I didn't have any plans of fighting my mother-in-law, and I really liked her a lot, even before I got married, and I looked up to her. And as God will have it, we were even in the same profession, and so many things about her appealed to me. But what stood out to me was when we were told to actively pursue a relationship with her, because in my natural state, I just wanted to let the thing flow naturally. Even if it flowed nowhere, if it stagnated, no problem. But when they said, I said, oh, so I have to make a conscious effort. Okay, understand her love language, reach out to her, even create a relationship with her outside my husband, and learn to befriend her, let her be my mom. She's not going to replace my mom, but she's also a mother to me in every sense. So that was very helpful.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like reliving my PMC days because I've been blessed. Just hearing these tidbits, tiny information from the past. I hope you're blessed. I hope you learned one or two things. Today we talked about family, friends, roles in the family, roles and responsibilities. We talked about in-laws, and then we also talked about decision making. Please don't forget that your relationships can change. Your real roles can change, but your responsibilities remain for life. Look up what your responsibility is. Come together to talk about your roles in the family as it concerns you people. Don't compare your marriage with another person's marriage and say, in the marriage, the man is the provider. In my own marriage, like some things can change. There are times when the men are low, you can step up and help. But the man should not become too lazy and feel like, oh, this is stepping up, oh, please, then I'm fine, Let it be, like we said, the principle is what? Minister grace. Please don't forget about it. Remember to share with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions at all, you can always email.
Comment section.
Send me an email or drop your comment or question in the comment section below. If we can't handle your issue, we are connected to the best counselors in the world who would escalate your matter, but we want everybody to be blessed. We want you to know that no situation is hopeless. And we also want you to know that with Choices with Chichi, our singular message is this: you are a product of your choices. So you can make the right choice today, irrespective of how bad your previous choices were. Thank you for listening, and then we'll see you next week. Ciao, ciao.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.